Where is the Princess of Wales? It's a question that sent social media into a frenzy in recent weeks and led to a number of conspiracy theories.
I do not believe the message that came out across from Catherine herself in that tweet was convincing in any way.
So there's been quite the buzz in the royal world recently, all thanks to a family photo released just in time for Mother's Day. You know, the one featuring Kate Middleton and her adorable trio, George, Charlotte, and Louis. Initially, everyone was gushing over the sweetness of the snapshot, but then it hit a bit of a snag. Some eagle-eyed folks noticed a few tweaks that seemed a tad off. Cue the speculation.
I think that she's a public figure who doesn't have a lot of options for privacy, and we can talk about the problems of that, but I don't think she has much of a choice but to show up for Easter if she can.
When you enlarge the image, things don't add up. There's really some very strange business going on. It becomes obvious that it's been manipulated.
At first, the palace kept mum about the whole situation, but soon enough, Princess Kate herself stepped up and admitted to giving the photo a little touch-up. Turns out, it was her first official snap since her surgery back in January.
What does this entire saga say about the state of the world, both in terms of seeing is no longer believing and a lack of trust in reputable sources?
I mean, that's the question, and that's the really interesting question.
The photo, reportedly snapped by Prince William himself in Windsor, shows a radiant Kate surrounded by her kiddos, all smiles. However, the internet being the internet, fans wasted no time in pointing out the discrepancies. One of the big ones? Princess Charlotte's cardigan sleeve not quite lining up right.
The furore about this latest image isn't so much about why it was edited, but the fact it was. And in a world of readily available digital tools and powerful AI, where the line should be drawn about what can be trusted.
So, what did Princess Kate have to say about all this? Well, she hopped on Instagram bright and early Monday morning to clear the air. She owned up to her amateur editing skills, apologized for any confusion, and wished everyone a happy Mother's Day. But here's the kicker. She didn't spill the beans on exactly what she tweaked. And despite her mea culpa, Kensington Palace made it clear they weren't going to reissue the original unedited pic. The Associated Press, AP, Agence France Presse, AFP, EPA, Getty, Reuters, and even the UK's top news agency, PA, were all in on the action, ready to distribute this seemingly innocuous family photo for Mother's Day. But then, the unexpected happened. It all started when folks began noticing something a little off about Princess Charlotte's cardigan sleeve in the snapshot. The discrepancy didn't go unnoticed, and soon, the image was being scrutinized by the pros. Both AFP and AP were quick to address the concerns. Eric Baradat, AFP's photo director, stepped up to shed light on what he perceived as clear signs of digital manipulation. He didn't hold back, pointing out discrepancies like Kate's zipper not aligning correctly, and alterations to her appearance and attire. And it didn't end there. He also identified what he believed to be suspicious alterations to the clothing worn by Prince Louis and George. In his analysis, Mr. Baradat didn't sugarcoat it. He identified what he deemed to be amateurish techniques, including copy and paste elements and noticeable blurring. These weren't subtle tweaks. He described them as very gross and visible. The situation escalated further when the AP issued a formal advisory to media outlets, warning them of potential manipulation of the image. As a result, they made it clear that no replacement photo would be provided. There's been quite a stir among royal enthusiasts online, sparking discussions about a recent picture making its rounds. Firstly, keen observers noticed some intriguing details. The absence of the princess's wedding ring and Louis's unusual hand positioning raised some eyebrows. Then there's the backdrop. Those fully bloomed trees in March certainly caught attention, as did the slightly off-kilter white skirting behind the family. But what really caught attention was a keen observer on TikTok who unearthed footage from a 2023 charity event showing Kate and the kids in what seems to be the same outfits as in the purported new picture post-surgery. Quite the revelation, isn't it? Now, onto the aftermath. Despite the royals usually sticking to their never complain, never explain mantra, an apology was issued. Turns out the photographer, credited as William, admitted to some digital manipulation, expressing regret for any confusion caused. Interestingly, the apology was signed C for Catherine, raising questions given William's role. This led to some heated debate, with some feeling Kate bore undue blame for what some see as a royal misstep. Social media even unearthed an interview with Prince Harry, highlighting the family's tendency to find scapegoats during PR crises. As the attempts at crisis management unfolded, a peculiar twist emerged, almost bordering on self-sabotage. A grainy image surfaced, showing William and Kate in the backseat of a car leaving Windsor Castle, with Kate turned away from the camera. Almost immediately, a keen-eyed royal observer unearthed a 2016 image of Kate that seemed to align remarkably well with the paparazzi snap. Despite the photographer claiming no editing had occurred, the discovery of the older picture intensified the eerie aura of the new one, depicting Kate in her demure attire akin to a Gothic apparition, leaving one unsure if she's truly there, reminiscent of literary figures like the Lady in the Lake in The Turn of the Screw or the enigmatic presence in Tony Soprano's afterlife home. However, amidst the swirl of speculation, the most plausible explanation for Kate's absence remains the simplest. She is recovering from major surgery, as announced back in January. What Kensington Palace seemingly underestimated was the intricacies of technology, social media, and the public's astute grasp of both. David Yelland, a former editor of the UK tabloid The Sun, aptly remarked on a podcast, describing the palace as a dated institution grappling with modern dynamics. Some of their shortcomings, though, are timeless. The royal body exists to be looked at, wrote novelist Hilary Mantel in a provocative 2013 essay, alluding to the public's demand for visibility of the royals. Kate's absence triggers a sort of quasi-mourning, demanding tactful intervention. The comparison between Kate and Diana, William's mother and the eternal Princess of Wales, often resurfaces. Despite Kate's beauty, charm, and unwavering poise, she's sometimes labeled as dull, particularly in contrast to Diana's captivating aura. Mantel, in her essay, depicted Kate as a shop window mannequin, lacking personal depth, contrasting sharply with Diana's raw vulnerability and unpredictability. Diana's ability to effortlessly transition from vulnerability to strength created an allure that Kate, often seen as flawlessly composed, seems to lack. Diana's remarkable journey unfolds through a series of unforgettable images, each capturing different facets of her life. From the carefree days as a teenage daycare worker, with the sun casting a glow through her skirt, to the elegant bride gliding in layers of taffeta. From the tender moments as a loving mother captured casually outdoors, to the stunning appearance in the iconic revenge dress, and finally, the glamorous jet-setter photographed aboard a Playboy's yacht. These snapshots epitomize Diana's evolution into an icon, a status Kate has never sought to replicate. While Kate's public persona doesn't aim for Diana's level of iconicism, there's no denying the recent uproar over her images has gripped the public's attention. It's arguably the most captivating moment in Kate's public journey, overshadowing even her wedding to William in 2011. All because of a misstep in attempting to present a flawless image. You can easily see why people are so drawn to this drama. It's like the ultimate real-life soap opera, often referred to as palace intrigue. From the dawn of social media to the days of old message boards, royal watchers have always loved delving into who's doing what, who's in favor, and whose secrets are the most scandalous. Susan Graves, who moved from the UK to the US nearly 20 years ago, knows this feeling well. She's been hooked on royal news for as long as she can remember, especially now with the ongoing saga involving Prince Harry and his wife, and the controversies swirling around Prince Andrew and the ailing king. It's always something, she says. Carly Wainsworth, a 28-year-old American, finds it all rather thrilling, like unraveling a mystery that's both real and fictional. Even her friends who typically couldn't care less about the royals are getting sucked into the drama, especially the latest scandal involving the princess. It's like being part of a big detective story, Carly explains. It's just real enough to be intriguing. And when you add in something like a photoshopped picture, well, you can't help but want to know what's really going on behind the scenes. Shows like The Crown and the constant controversies surrounding the royal family, from Prince Harry and Meghan's media battles to the ongoing interest in Princess Diana's life and death, have only intensified the public's fascination with the monarchy. "I always assume they're hiding something," Carly adds, but then again, who wouldn't be in their position? But not everyone's taking it all too seriously. On social media platform X, there's a group called Where TF is Kate Middleton, with over 4,400 members, all ready to dive deep into the mystery of Kate's disappearance. It's all in good fun, though, a way for fans to indulge in their guilty pleasure of royal gossip without taking it too seriously. And let's not forget the wild rumors and hilarious Photoshop jobs floating around, like Kate cozying up to celebrity Bo Pete Davidson, or secretly joining The Masked Singer. It's all part of the royal rabbit hole that's just too entertaining to resist. Piers Morgan, the outspoken broadcaster, recently added his voice to the ongoing discussion surrounding the Kate Middleton photo editing controversy, suggesting he's heard some concerning information. During his show Uncensored on March 14th, Morgan shared his thoughts, expressing uncertainty about the situation. He mentioned that while Kate might be doing well, he found the palace's attempts to dismiss the conspiracy theories as missteps, hinting that there could be more to the story. However, he was careful to note that he couldn't verify the validity of the information he'd been told. Morgan highlighted the potential risk of the drama turning the royal family into a subject of ridicule, particularly referencing a joke made by American talk show host John Oliver. He also questioned why Kate, who's recovering from abdominal surgery, would be spending time editing photos on Photoshop when there are staff available for such tasks. In a recent New York Post column, Morgan expressed sympathy for the family, especially as King Charles undergoes cancer treatment. However, he criticized the traditional approach to handling palace media, suggesting it's outdated in today's world. He emphasized that if it were revealed the palace intentionally misled the public about Kate's health, his sympathy would diminish. While he empathized with Kate's health struggles, he stressed that any deliberate deception would undermine that sympathy. The online sphere has been abuzz with discussions surrounding what's been termed Katespiracy, focusing on speculation regarding Kate Middleton's recent absence from public appearances. This intrigue took an unexpected twist as Stephen Colbert, host of The Late Show, dedicated a segment to discussing the latest rumors surrounding the Duchess of Cambridge's whereabouts. According to Kensington Palace, Kate has been recovering from a planned abdominal surgery since January 19th, with an anticipated return to her duties by Easter. However, Colbert delved into the speculation that her absence might be linked to rumors of her husband, Prince William, having an affair with Rose Hanbury, a woman previously associated with the royal couple. Colbert's commentary reignited online discussions, with some viewing his remarks as validating their suspicions about the situation. However, others criticized Colbert for perpetuating rumors without concrete evidence, prompting debates about the ethics of discussing such matters publicly. In the midst of this controversy, an article resurfaced detailing Hanbury's background and her connections to the British royal family. Describing her as a former model married to David Rocksavage, the 7th Marquess of Cholmondeley, the article shed light on her ties to Kate and William's social circle through their neighboring estates in Norfolk. Despite the scrutiny surrounding Hanbury's association with the royals, her lineage boasts ties to British aristocracy, with her grandmother having been one of Queen Elizabeth II's bridesmaids. Hanbury herself has been seen at significant royal events, further fueling speculation about her relationship with the royal family and the ongoing Katespiracy. Many people online quickly started talking about why an article about Rose Hanbury is making rounds again, especially when Kate Middleton hasn't been seen in public lately. Some social media users are linking it to rumors of an alleged affair between Prince William and Hanbury. These rumors aren't new. They surfaced in 2019 when a British tabloid talked about a fallout between Kate and Hanbury, suggesting that Princess Diana wanted Hanbury out of their social circle. However, no tabloid officially mentioned an affair, and the palace reportedly threatened legal action against those spreading the rumors. The gossip resurfaced in July 2022, when a celebrity gossip Instagram account hinted at a royal family member having an affair, leading many to suspect William. Despite this, the palace didn't comment, and there hasn't been much talk since. Meanwhile, Kate has been out of the public eye, fueling speculation. Some publications are now revisiting the Hanbury story and the affair rumors. Throughout all this, the palace and Hanbury have stayed quiet. Despite the rumors, there's no evidence to suggest any trouble in William and Kate's marriage. They've shown affection for each other publicly, supported one another through difficult times, and haven't indicated any issues in their relationship. The British royal family. They're more than just monarchs and heads of state. They're a regular family with their own share of secrets and complexities. And let's face it, who doesn't love a bit of royal gossip? It seems like the intrigue surrounding them will never fade, even if the monarchy itself does one day. Take Prince Philip, for example. While many know him as the Duke of Edinburgh, his family history reveals some unexpected twists. Born in Greece, his early life was marked by tragedy and upheaval. His mother suffered from schizophrenia, his father moved away with his mistress, and his sisters all married, leaving Philip to navigate life largely on his own. But here's where it gets really interesting. His sisters married German princes who had ties to the Nazi Party. Some even became members themselves, rubbing elbows with high-ranking officials of the Third Reich. It's a part of Philip's past that sheds light on a lesser-known aspect of royal history. Then there's Prince Charles, whose romantic escapades have kept tabloids buzzing for decades. His affair with Camilla Parker Bowles, now his wife, was no secret, but the leaked transcripts of their intimate phone conversations added a whole new layer of scandal. In one particularly eyebrow-raising exchange, Charles quips about wanting to be Camilla's tampon, prompting laughter and, undoubtedly, some raised eyebrows. King Edward VIII, the Queen's uncle, holds a particularly controversial place in royal history due to his connections with Nazi Germany. Like Prince Philip, Edward was enamored with German culture and maintained close relationships with his German relatives. However, his attitude towards Adolf Hitler's regime during the tumultuous 1920s and 1930s raised eyebrows. Despite the escalating threat posed by Hitler's policies, Edward displayed a surprising indifference. He even went so far as to dismiss concerns about Nazi atrocities, asserting that it was not the place of foreign powers to intervene in Germany's internal affairs. This stance was deeply troubling, given the horrors unfolding under Hitler's rule. In 1937, shortly after marrying Wallis Simpson, Edward embarked on a highly controversial visit to Nazi Germany. While the official pretext was to explore working conditions, the trip took on a more sinister tone. Edward and Simpson were warmly received by high-ranking Nazi officials, including Hermann Göring and Joseph Goebbels. They even had a private meeting with Hitler at his mountain retreat, Berghof. This rendezvous, coupled with Edward's earlier remarks, fueled speculation about his sympathies and political judgment. Turning to a different aspect of royal history, the story of Queen Elizabeth II's cousins, Nerissa and Catherine Bowes-Lyon, offers a poignant glimpse into the treatment of individuals with disabilities in past decades. Born with mental disabilities, Nerissa and Catherine were confined to the Royal Earlswood Institution for Mental Defectives at young ages. Their existence was shrouded in secrecy, with the family going to great lengths to conceal their presence from the public. This included falsely reporting them as deceased in 1961. The Bowes-Lyon sisters' tragic fate underscores the pervasive stigma surrounding mental health and disability during that era. Lastly, we come to Princess Beatrice and her controversial relationship with Paolo Luzzo in 2006. Luzzo's criminal background, marked by convictions for serious offenses, sparked concern and scrutiny within royal circles. Despite efforts to downplay the situation, including a statement from Beatrice's mother expressing confidence in her daughter's judgment, the relationship raised questions about the princess's choices and the scrutiny faced by members of the royal family in their personal lives. Did you know that Princess Anne, during her marriage to Mark Phillips from November 1973 to April 1992, shared 2 children with him, Zara Tyndall and Peter Phillips? Well, here's a twist to the story. Turns out Mark Phillips allegedly fathered another child outside of their marriage. This mysterious child is reportedly a daughter named Felicity, who now resides in New Zealand. Interestingly, she lived on the same massive 700-acre estate where Zara and Peter grew up. Felicity's mother, Heather Tonkin, made efforts in the 1990s to have Mark acknowledge paternity. She expressed her desire to have Mark publicly recognize Felicity and even sought to have his name included on her birth certificate. Mark, however, declined, though he did provide financial support of £6,000 annually for 5 years. Then we also have the allegations against Prince Andrew. Virginia Giuffre, in court documents, bravely shared her harrowing experience of being a victim of sex trafficking and abuse by Jeffrey Epstein, starting from when she was just 16 years old. Now, this is where it gets even more disturbing. Giuffre alleges that part of her ordeal involved being passed around to other influential men, including none other than Prince Andrew himself. She recounts 3 instances of sexual assault by the Duke, all when she was under 18. The first incident allegedly took place in 2001 in London. According to Giuffre, Epstein and his then-girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, introduced her to Prince Andrew, and they all went out to a nightclub. Later that evening, she claims she was coerced into having sex with the Duke at Maxwell's home. The second instance, Giuffre alleges, occurred in Epstein's New York mansion. And the third, she says, happened on Epstein's private island in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Throughout, Giuffre claims she felt compelled into these acts due to threats and the overwhelming power and influence of Epstein, Maxwell, and Prince Andrew. Now, you might be wondering, what's Prince Andrew's response to all this? Well, he's vehemently denied all the allegations. In a 2019 interview with BBC Newsnight, he stated that he couldn't recall ever meeting Virginia Giuffre and refuted her accounts of their encounters in London and elsewhere. Prince Andrew explained that on the day Giuffre claims they met in London, he was busy with family commitments, taking Princess Beatrice to a party at Pizza Express in Woking and spending the rest of the evening at home. However, he did admit to being in a photograph with Giuffre and Maxwell, though he couldn't explain its context. On the legal front, Prince Andrew's lawyers brought up a settlement Giuffre reached in 2009 with Epstein, where she agreed not to sue anyone else linked to Epstein. They argue that this includes Prince Andrew, despite him not being explicitly named in the agreement. The wording of this settlement, previously confidential, has now been made public. So, Virginia Giuffre, in August 2021, took a significant step by filing a civil case in New York under the state's Child Victims Act. This act allows survivors of childhood sexual abuse to pursue legal action even if too much time has passed. In her case, Giuffre accuses Prince Andrew of sexual assault and battery when she was just 17. Now, at 38, she emphasizes that the trauma from these alleged instances of abuse still deeply affects her mental and emotional well-being. Fast forward to a virtual hearing on January 4th, where the Duke's legal team requested the dismissal of the case. Judge Lewis A. Kaplan is expected to announce his decision on this matter soon. It's worth noting that Prince Andrew isn't facing any legal action in the UK regarding these allegations. However, the Metropolitan Police in London has reviewed documents released as part of the civil case in the US, along with information shared by the media in June 2021. In both instances, the police concluded their review in October and decided against taking further action. Now, let's rewind a bit and talk about Jeffrey Epstein. Prince Andrew claims he first met Epstein back in 1999 through Epstein's then-girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell. Their social ties deepened over the years, with Prince Andrew inviting Maxwell and Epstein to various events, including a visit to Windsor Castle and a shooting weekend at Sandringham Estate in Norfolk. Prince Andrew admits to traveling on Epstein's private plane, visiting his private island, and staying at his properties in Palm Beach and New York. However, he asserts that he cut off contact with Epstein once allegations against him surfaced in 2006. Epstein's legal troubles continued, leading to his imprisonment in Florida in 2008 for soliciting a minor. Despite this, Prince Andrew visited Epstein in New York in December 2010, claiming it was to end their friendship once and for all. When his secret plea deal was brought to light, it caused widespread outrage. Subsequent charges in New York alleged that Epstein had built a vast network to exploit underage girls for sex, some as young as 14. However, before Epstein could face justice, he was found dead in his cell after spending a month in prison awaiting trial. The New York medical examiner concluded it was suicide, though many questions lingered. Moving on to Ghislaine Maxwell, she was arrested by the FBI in July 2020 and held in custody until her trial. In December 2021, she was found guilty on 5 out of 6 charges, including the most serious charge of sex trafficking a minor. However, she was acquitted of 1 count, enticing a minor to travel for illegal sex acts. Now, Maxwell, a British former socialite aged 60, faces the possibility of spending the rest of her life behind bars, although her sentencing date is yet to be determined. During the month-long trial in New York, 4 women bravely testified about their experiences of abuse by Epstein between 1994 and 2004. Following the verdict, Maxwell's legal team announced plans for an appeal, asserting her innocence. Bobby Sternheim, one of her lawyers, expressed confidence in Maxwell's innocence outside the court, but Maxwell's legal battles are far from over. She faces another trial on 2 perjury charges, each carrying a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. These charges stem from allegations that she lied under oath during a 2016 deposition for a lawsuit filed against Epstein by one of his accusers, Virginia Giuffre. It seems Maxwell will remain a fixture in the courtroom for the foreseeable future, as her next trial is anticipated to take place next year. Now, it's been noted that Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip were quite hands-off when it came to raising their kids. After Princess Anne's birth, and when Prince Charles was just a toddler of 3, the couple embarked on a 6-month Commonwealth tour, leaving their children in the care of nannies. When they returned, their children were reportedly greeted more with handshakes than hugs, which some found a bit cold. There's even a story that when Charles fell ill with the Asian flu while at school, his parents didn't visit him, which some consider a bit distant. Critics have commented that if Queen Elizabeth had put as much effort into parenting as she did into her interest in horses, the royal family might have turned out differently. It's a harsh judgment, but it reflects the sentiment of some observers. As for the royal rules, well, they can seem quite strict and even odd to outsiders. Meghan Markle, before becoming a duchess, made quite a few sacrifices, like giving up her acting career and social media presence. But it didn't stop there. Once in the royal fold, she had to adhere to a laundry list of strict etiquette rules, from always wearing stockings to never showing cleavage. And get this, because the Queen isn't a fan of starches, shellfish, or even garlic, members of the royal family have to follow suit. Plus, they can't eat if the Queen isn't eating. Talk about having to mind your manners. Now about Meghan's dogs. Before joining the royal family, Meghan had 2 beloved pups, Gus and Bogart. However, only Gus, her beagle, made the cut to move into the palace. Bogart, a mixed breed, was left behind. While Meghan didn't explicitly say why, some speculate it's because of royal preferences for certain dog breeds. According to royal etiquette expert William Hanson, having the right breed of dog is crucial in royal circles, and unfortunately for Bogart, being a mixed breed didn't quite fit the bill. Prince Philip, known for his candid remarks, has made some pretty cringe-worthy comments over the years. For instance, he once asked an Aboriginal Australian if they still threw spears at each other and made a racially insensitive comment about slitty-eyed people while in China. Then there's Princess Michael of Kent, who raised eyebrows by wearing a racially charged blackamoor brooch when meeting Meghan for the first time. She's also been accused of making offensive remarks, including telling a group of black diners to go back to the colonies. Her attempts at apologizing only seem to make matters worse. But it's not just the older generation stirring up controversy. Prince Harry found himself in hot water back in 2004 when he was caught on video making a derogatory comment towards a fellow soldier while in the military. Now let's talk infidelity. Sure, the royal family's history of cheating scandals adds some drama to their already dysfunctional lives. Take, for example, Charles and Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, who had an affair while Charles was still married to Princess Diana. Diana later revealed in a taped interview that when she confronted Charles about it, his response was less than remorseful. And that's just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to royal infidelity scandals. But let's be real, we could be here all day listing them. After the tragic death of Princess Diana, the world was plunged into mourning. Thousands of grieving fans made their way to Kensington Palace to pay their respects. However, many were surprised and outraged when the royal family didn't raise the flag half-mast or release a statement, a move that was against royal protocol. The public outcry was intense, with headlines demanding the family show compassion and humanity. Eventually, under pressure from the public, the family relented, raising the flag and issuing a statement just before the funeral. Now let's talk money. The royal family's expenses total a staggering $368 million annually, with a chunk of that coming from taxpayers. In 2017, the government provided them with a hefty $97 million in tax-free income, a significant increase from previous years. While it's argued that the family generates more money than they receive from the government through profits from the Crown estate and tourism, critics believe taxpayers foot a much larger bill, approximately $452 million per year, which is quite mind-boggling. The royal family's long history is filled with hidden stories like these, reminding us that the weight of the crown often conceals deep secrets and untold truths. That's all for the video, folks. Thanks for watching.